Okay, recording is started. Would anyone like to recap what is currently going on in the story?
I'll do my best.
Okay, go
I
for
don't
it.
know. I don't know who was with my gorilla, Winston, but we were just going into to try and find some sort of way to get to this constellation that we need to get to, a certain star probably. And we had gone through these bunch of portals that were they were where things go to die, like water or air, for example. But eventually, we didn't go to that one, thankfully. Uh, but we found a spaceship that was able to shrink down and fit into our pockets, which was necessary. But our other group of people, they need to go to this quasi Egyptian place and talk to the god of death and the god of darkness. We need some sort of ingredient to help make the potion to restore memories with the potion maker that came along with us. Oh no, he's staying behind because he was scared.
There's been some family squabbles down there. And that is the party that we're going to go adventuring with today. The party consists of the Ghost, Tice's Clerk, the Max, your Druid, Troy, also your Druid, and then the Priestess of Fate will be coming with you guys as well. Now, broadly speaking, your objective is to acquire a Black Lotus. This is an incredibly expensive ingredient, primarily because they only grow in one place. That place is in the domain of Set, and Set does not give them out lightly. Set, being a god, has total control over his domain, making stealing them an interesting challenge. But Set is also not known to hand them out. Yeah, your choices are try and steal them, try and get one through diplomacy and talking. And how you get there also provides some interesting choices. So you'll probably want to begin by researching how to get to Set's domain. The Scholar and the Mouse can tell you that Set's domain is located within the Grey Waste, which is the plane of ultimate evil. It is a place where things are so evil that color is literally drained out of the universe, and if you remain there for too long, not only you, but all items you carry will lose all pigmentation and become grayscale for the rest of their existence. Set's domain is somehow immune to this, so once you get inside, you'll be okay. But there are numerous ways to get to the Grey Waste. One of them is the gate town of Hopeless, in which you would travel to the Outlands, walk to the gate town of Hopeless, where there's a portal that would take you to the Grey Waste, and then you would wander the colorless desert looking for the Realm of Set. But there are also two alternatives. The Realm of Set is also bordered by two other realms, the Realm of Hades and the Realm of Niflheim. Hades could be reached by going to Mount Olympus and descending down below the mountain, through the tunnels below the gods of Olympus and the Greek pantheon. Alternatively, Niflheim can be gotten via the World's Tree, as it is down beneath where the roots of the world's tree drink their waters. So there is a hard way to get there, and then there's the Norse pantheon way to get there, and the Greek pantheon way to get there.
Oh shit! Is that world tree Yggdrasil, by the way?
Yes, it is. You guys have been there once before.
Well, they have. Yes.
The ghost has.
Okay. Oh, the ghost has. Yeah. Sorry. I'm. You're right. We fought the demons there.
Correct.
Max was not with us on that day.
I don't remember that.
So you do know how to get to Yggdrasil. That would be through the Ratask. The Ratask merchants in the square can open a portal to get you to the world's tree, at which point it's just a matter of climbing down the tree.
Well, do you guys want to risk going through the Grey Waste? Or try one of the other two options? I have no preference except Yggdrasil because I know where it is.
So it's either climb down a huge tree, traverse like dangerous desert, and what was the other option?
To go to Mount Olympus, the Greek pantheon has tunnels under Mount Olympus that travel all the way to Hades. Hades is next door to Set's domain. So you climb down the tree into Niflheim, which is the realm of darkness in the Norse pantheon. You climb down the mountain of Olympus, which leads to Hades, the realm of death for the Greek pantheon. Or you can go for a walk in a desert that drains all color out of people, and it is accessed through a town called Hopeless.
Is that like lethal to lose my color pigments?
No, but it can be very depressing.
Well, I guess then that's the least dangerous, but it's kind of depressing.
Yeah, I guess that one does seem a little less risky, and we wouldn't encounter like more gods and things along the way. Or
Well,
less of a chance.
I have to ask, can you guys make some sort of luminescence spells or something to light up darkness in case we go down Yggdrasil?
No, I can't. Also, Distant, you might hate me, but can you link like the is it the wiki or whatever to show where the skills are and stuff?
Oh, Fluid Wiki, yeah.
Which one were you saying was less risky?
Going through the
Grey Waste.
They seem to believe that the Grey Waste is less risky.
Because, well, I don't know what's going to be there to kill us, but I assume that Hades or Niflheim is going to be probably pretty bad.
Well,
Those
my
are
only
like,
thing is, well, because you're talking about traversing the entire world tree, which it's a world tree, so yeah, that's not like easy.
I mean, we've been there, right?
Yeah, that's the only
go through the whole thing.
The only
Yeah.
advantage is that we've been there and we know how to get there.
And then, like going to Mount Olympus, and then also like finding a way to Hades, then through Hades is gonna like we're already kind of stacking up gods here. We're having to deal with.
Yeah, basically the only risk we know of in the Grey Waste is that we're going to lose our color pigments and just be gray forever, which is kind of depressing and lame, but at least we're not going to die. But I mean, are we going to be brave or smart?
A silvery voice from behind you says, "Thinking about traversing the Grey Waste, are you?" Turning around, you see that sitting at the bar in the coffee shop, sipping on a cappuccino, is the fox-headed creature. that you guys, the druids anyway, of the party encountered in the Celestial Palace of the Jade Emperor. His dog-headed friend is not with him.
Wait, which head?
The fox-headed one.
Okay, so the one
that
we're not supposed to try.
Correct.
I'm trying to remember which one was which.
Are
This is the
druids-
sly one.
The druids are planers, right? Or not lemons or whatever.
No, they're lemons.
Druids are primes.
Ah, well.
But the priestess that was with you, the priestess of fate, is not a prime. She's a planar, and she immediately tells you don't trust anything this fox says.
All right, good to know.
Fox raises, hey, it's not a matter of trust, it's a matter of ability. I can get you through the Grey Waste.
I have a feeling there's some but in there.
Well, I mean, you'd owe me a favor.
I of all people know how deadly an empty favor is.
All right. We'll be clear then. Not just, a nebulous favor, something very specific. I have a package that I need delivered. It happens you're going in the same direction. Perhaps you could take this package for me, and it would be in my best interest to make sure you and the package arrive safely. How could you not trust that?
So we'd only be the messengers, and if something like, say, or hypothetical, it was some kind of bomb and it blew up and killed whoever you're sending it to, it would not be traced back to you, but to us?
Funny you should mention bombs. A bomb is exactly what this is about. Have any of you visited the Great Bone Tower that sits in the ladies' ward?
I have not.
I've walked past it before.
This tower was once a fragment of a much larger structure that we, my people, the Arcanoloth, broadly speaking, and members of the Yugoloth, we valued this structure very highly. It was a library full of wondrous books. And then some adventurers set off a bomb. They blew it to pieces, and one of those pieces fell through a portal and ended up here. I have, at great expense, acquired some pieces of that bone, and I wish to send it back to my homeland. You can see, right here in the package, plain as day. He opens up a bundle, and there is indeed fragments of bone inside the bundle. They are very carefully laid out on black velvet inside a glass case. None of them are whole, they're just like splinters of bone, and yet each one of them is the size of a person's arm.
So you just wish us to return these back?
Well, they appear to be just bones.
Of course. But they're not just bones. These are pieces of the original Library of Secrets. They're very important to me and to my people. We wouldn't want anything bad to happen to them. I mean, they've already been exploded by a bomb.
Well, it seems like that both of our objectives are very important as he slides out a book. How about we to keep it protected from both for both parties? We sign on this.
Your Priestess of Fate says, if you guys are dumb enough to take this deal, I'm not coming with you. Because that is exactly what Ed would say.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this fox seems like really sly, and it's probably like not necessarily lying, but like leaving out information. So,
Yeah,
All
and
right,
it's not like we've only heard from one person not to trust.
I can see you guys need to think about this. He puts a little card on a table. There's like a hole in the middle of the card. It says, if you change your mind, put your finger through the hole and I'll know, and I'll come and talk to you again. I'll come find you. It's just a little piece of paper and a little rectangle like a business card, but it has a hole in the middle. He gets up, tips his waitress, and walks away.
um, again, inside gaming a little bit. What was the cost for skill?
The
Is it
cost for a skill?
3 experience, or 5, or what is it?
The cost of a skill is the level that you're raising it to.
No. If I'm getting a will and ability, whatever.
Oh,
Talent?
Talents are 10
Talent.
experience each.
Okay.
The spreadsheet will calculate it for you, so it'll automatically deduct it for you.
Yeah, so I guess it seems like we got to find this town if we're not taking that guy's deal. Or are we climbing a tree? I don't know what we decide on.
I mean, I have no problem with the tree. And then, what do we know about the gray waste? Like, is it a set amount of time thing? Like, do we just need to get through it quick?
Just the longer you're in there, the more color gets taken away from your pigments, and you look more gray. Non-lethal.
I mean,
Wait, it's not like an overtime thing?
It probably has some other effect, but we just don't. None of us have been there. We don't know unless you want to look around and ask people.
Yeah, I mean, it could be poisonous or something, but as far as we know, it's not.
Any of you are welcome to try and make a connections check, see if you can find anybody nearby that knows more about it.
I can do that. I can, because I also want, because I know a guy.
Yeah, there you go. And you're a planer, so you would have some idea. You could figure things out. While you're checking, you notice that the waitress is carefully, without ever touching them, sweeping the coins that the Arcanoloth left as a tip into a bin and carrying it out to an incinerator out back.
Jeez.
With the money he paid with?
Yeah. They don't even trust that.
Yeah, so we definitely can't take that deal.
I was disconnected for like 30 seconds, but it sounds like no. We should not.
I was ready to take the whole like concern of, or the whole standpoint. It really what doesn't matter as long as we get to where we're going. Like what do we affect? But if the Sister of Fate is against it, then I don't want to dampen the party.
She says, in both the Greek and the Norse pantheons, my calling and my god are well respected.
Which one is the tree?
Yggdrasil would be the Norse pantheon,
The Norse.
and you would be descending Yggdrasil into Niflheim, the realm of mists.
I'll just point out that where the tree might be something that like y'all can master and lean on and stuff. I will not be very acrobatic. I can barely walk around in a main city.
Who are you? Which character are you?
The animal wielding ghost spirit, angry old.
Oh, that's
I
right.
can't even stealth when there are plenty of bushes and stuff to like hide behind, and like I said, I can barely walk down a regular road like safely.
Can't you like ride on your panther?
I kind of have to convince those things to let me do stuff that's within their nature, and riding on it like a mount is kind of not. So, I mean, I could just jump on its back, but I won't be with you guys for too long after that.
You are in pretty good favor with him, having given him a chance to feed upon the druid or the ranger that had been involved in his death.
Oh, I don't know. I turned to it and like, "You gonna help me climb down a giant tree?"
Amongst the growls and purrs, it says, "Down is easy. It's getting you back up again that's going to be a pain."
We'll figure out something else. All right, fine. Yeah, we'll go for the tree. This thing's because I can kind of imbue myself with the power, but then I could also just ride it. Either way, whatever it's more comfortable with.
I figure I can make an attempt at assisting him up stuff too if I need.
I certainly can. I'm a gorilla. Oh, sorry, no, I'm the spirit. Anyway, I suggest that we bring something to make torches with, since we're going to like a realm of relative darkness.
Do spirits have the same kind of rules that like mist, one of those elementals would have when it comes to like acrobatic stuff, especially going down, where they would just float and they're fine?
True spirits would, but he is a petitioner, meaning that he has taken a solid form and he's functionally a human that just has really bad consequences for death.
Yeah, I just forgot to say I'm turning corporeal. I am not fully ethereal as the spirit.
Yeah, since being on Sigil in the main city, he's started to need to eat and is noticeably actually breathing.
I have a very my memory doesn't go back very far. Days or weeks or months, I don't even know. Time is kind of weird for me. But I would like to have the memory potion maybe, so I can see my past before I die.
All right, so it sounds like you guys want to head down Yggdrasil. This would be the time to gather equipment before you go, as you are near the Great Bazaar and could potentially gear up with things before I don't know exactly how you're going to get down the tree yet, but however it is you plan to do it. It's a long drop.
I mean, so are there branches like on the tree that go down, or is the concept like you have to climb?
Broadly speaking, you're going to have to climb. There are branches along the way. Some of them bend up or down a little bit. These branches are often the size of small villages and have small villages on them. Yeah. Down is going to be the main direction, down the trunk.
So I'm gonna let them figure out as far as climbing down that tree. I have spent my guy's life as basically talking with spirits and trying to get them to do what he wants them to do, and through the trials and tribulations have found that sometimes that is very difficult, and we're possibly talking about a god, which is probably a little bit harder than a spirit. Does anybody know of anything in particular that would make this god happy, or that they might like or trade for one of those things that we're trying to get?
Are you talking about Set?
Yeah,
God
I mean,
of Death?
I guess he's just like evil. So would that be like someone's heart or something?
All right, so while Tice is researching a route to. Wait, what were you looking for, Tice? You were looking for something. You're seeing if you knew a guy about something.
What it was, yeah, we were talking about, was it finding more information about the Great Waste and how to get there? Was that, or that was the consensus?
Yeah, and
No,
you used the I know a guy talent.
Yes.
What was your result from that?
I posted it was 4 successes.
4 successes. Okay. And you were trying to find out about like the gray waste and the duration and special effects.
Yeah.
All right. Your first success is basically confirming that your scholar was correct. The gray waste drains color. Second success is that as it drains your color, it damages your mind and makes you lose hope. And if you're there too long, you'll just wander the desert aimlessly with no particular agenda. The third thing you find is that it is, broadly speaking, the realm of pure evil, neither neutral or neither chaotic nor lawful. This is the realm of pure selfish self-interest, and that everyone and everything you encounter will only be out for itself at all costs, and will seek to take whatever they can from you by whatever means they have available. Your fourth success is that this is the home plane of the Yugoloth, the demons of neutral evil that are rarely spoken of directly, but are so broad in their powers that there are Yugoloth on the councils of even the upper planes. Even in the seven heavens on the top of Mount Celestius, there is a Yugoloth that sits in on council meetings because it is advisable for them to have a diplomat to communicate with such a broad and powerful group. They're known as manipulators that always make sure that their agendas come true.
Well, that place just immediately got more dangerous. It's a good thing you checked that out, Tice. Is it more dangerous than Niflheim? And to climb up and down through Yggdrasil? I don't know.
Max, you were going to do some research, right?
Is there any way that I could basically tag along with Tice and like help associate? I don't know that I really have too much like research. Well, I mean, I guess I got a little investigation.
Yeah, either investigation or scholarship. Scholarship if you're like going to investigate in a library. Investigation if you're going to walk around asking people.
I'd like to go to the library and like find the front desk librarian person.
The Hall of Records doesn't have a single front desk, but has in fact rows upon rows of them, with different titles and names over each desk. Fortunately, you have a little scholar who's from your homeworld, she's been spending a lot of time here, actually got a job here as a filing clerk, and so she can walk you right past the front desks and into the depths of the great Hall of Records.
Oh, well, good, because I just needed somebody in there that, you know, knew what they were doing. I'm just going to have her find as much deep lore and specifically like tuned to like possible goals that Set might have.
All right, cool. Roll your dice. Literally, or if you don't have them, I can roll them for you then. How many dice are we rolling?
Oh. Well, I have 5 persuasion. Is it empathy and persuasion? So that would be 8.
That would be good for talking to people, but you're researching something in a library. So scholarship would
do it.
Oh, you're asking her to research it for you. She doesn't need to be persuaded. She's happy to do some research for you.
That's why I was wondering if I had to roll at all. I was like, she's in our party.
She says, "All right, I'll look into it and get back to you."
Yeah.
a little while later, she comes back and says, "All right, so Set isn't exactly a god of evil. He's a god of darkness, and he has some weird relationships going on. Set is apparently bound both to the Egyptian pantheon and the Greek pantheon. In the Greek pantheon, Set was known to be an aspect of Typhon. And apparently Typhon got into a little scuffle recently and was injured. So it's not clear what's up with Set, but he hasn't been seen in public since.
And it's just like straight up darkness that he's associated with.
Darkness and protecting Ra from chaos. So his association with Typhon is sort of twofold. He both is the chaos and is the force that keeps himself at bay.
But he's been gone for a while.
As Ra would ride his chariot, Typhon would stand at the front of the chariot and defeat the chaos. Set would basically protect Ra from himself so that the sun could pass through the sky. And she kind of looks down and looks around at a world that doesn't have any sun. It's like, yeah, okay. So whatever's going on over there, I don't think he's necessarily the bad guy, but he does seem to be out of commission. And from what I can tell from people who have filed reports going down there, it looks like Anubis is running the show.
Ah.
Anubis is the keeper of the dead. He's not a really talkative guy, not a lot of records of successful interactions. But yeah.
He sounds even less reasonable.
Well, it looks like Anubis used to just kind of crash down there. Like he didn't have his own domain, so he just hung out with Set. They were like friends or something. But now that Set's injured, he's house sitting, I guess. It's like this is a weird mythology. I'm not really sure I'm following it correctly.
So if it looks to me that if we go down there with the intentions of healing Set so that he can regain his power and his domain and he can go back to doing what he was doing, and then that would also allow Anubis to go back to just chilling and do whatever he wants to do, because currently he has to do work that he doesn't want to. At least that's the way it sounds from the research. Do we know if there's a way to heal Set?
That sounds like a good thing to find out.
Your scholar says, I have no idea. I don't think there's a lot of records about that, because I don't think a lot of gods are willing to admit they've been injured.
Well, but from the intel, it sounds like we've already got a pretty good. And plus, even if he hasn't been and he's like good to go, going down there with some kind of, hey, just in case something happens later, here's the thing, also would be a good idea.
We could just bluff to Anubis and tell him, like, we do know how to heal your god, Set. And then once we get to Set, be like, hey, can you tell us what we actually need?
Yes, we could. And I could bluff to my Panther about getting food later. He was gonna still want food later. So.
No, I just meant bluff to Anubis. So
I know.
So that we can get to Set and be like, hey, we will heal you eventually.
Yeah, but I mean, they're gods, and so we might not necessarily be in his same realm, but like, it's not like, oh, we passed the gate, so we're safe now. Now he can still get to it. Like, he's still gonna want whatever we bluff, and that's gonna be bad.
Well, I guess it's a matter of if we can deliver and how fast. Or if he wants it immediately, then we're fucked.
Everyone meets him eventually at the end.
How would we go about searching on healing a god? Wait, they need more followers, right? Is that his
While there
problem?
was no particular mention of healing a god, there has been a lot of buzz in the local news about Kronos having some kind of an illness of the mind, and he's currently being cared for at the base of Mount Olympus by Zeus. They had a falling out when Zeus was a kid, and Kronos tried to eat him, and so Zeus killed him and then banished him to Tartarus. But apparently, some new information has come out about exactly why he was crazy and tried to eat his own children. And some adventurers went on a grand adventure and ended up curing him somehow of this illness, whatever it was. That might contain some information about how to cure a god.
In Olympus?
Well,
Yep.
things.
It's actually at the foot of Mount Olympus. They're not even on the mountain. They're hanging out next to the river Oceanus at the foot of the mountain.
Things just got interesting then. If Olympus has the cure that we need after we get to Set's domain, it might be the best route there.
I mean, yeah, if it'll get us something that we can use when we actually get down there, yeah, that would be preferable.
The scholar pipes up, says, there may be another reason to go on the Yggdrasil route, however. While the cure may be in Mount Olympus, that's true. I mean, that's an option. At the base of Yggdrasil, before you ymir into the realm of mists, there's a pool, sometimes referred to as a well. And apparently, a man named Ymir can acquire for you any piece of knowledge you want from out of this well. He asks for a price to be paid, but that may be a way to get the information we want as well. Maybe even more information than just about curing a god. We might be able to find out important information about our own world.
Yeah, but what's that price?
She shrugs and says, Odin cut out one of his eyes and dropped it in?
That's not
Ouch.
horrible.
Apparently a lot of other people have gone there and offered an eye, and he's refused, though. So it looks like he doesn't accept the same payment twice. Or maybe the rates have just gone up.
I just see people going down there with the eyes, and he's like, no, that was one guy. No, everybody can't do the same trick.
So it just comes down with a cart full of eyes.
Those aren't even yours.
Well, it sounds like Yggdrasil just became the cheating shortcut. But to cheat, we have to sacrifice something fucking horrible.
Well, that and we still don't have. We might get information, but we don't have the Lotus. If we do,
oh, you're right.
If we do the mountain, meet with them, maybe get some information right there from what's helping him, possibly acquire whatever that is there. Hopefully, I don't know. Maybe they have a spare, and then go down there. Then we have the actual thing to do the trade. Hopefully.
Yeah, it's if we don't actually have to climb Olympus, that seems like a quicker find out.
Yeah. How easy is it to get to Olympus?
That depends on the direction that the tides are flowing. The river Oceanus flows through the Ladies' Ward.
Oh. Spectacular. So
if the directions are right and the tides are kind, it could flow you directly to Olympus. It might also flow somewhere else.
Does anybody have sailing?
Like somewhere else on the way, or somewhere else in an entirely different.
The River Oceanus flows through most of the upper plains. It flows through Mount Celestia, Bitupia, Elysium, the Beastlands, and Olympus.
Huh. I wonder if there's boat rides that are on the side of on the Ladies' Ward. Then, so it sounds like a good deal to if they know the flows well enough. There might be someone that can have a boat there.
Indeed.
Also, does anybody have like? Has anybody been stocked with money? Do we have basic money for this place?
You'll definitely need that to get a boat.
I don't know that I came with money, or that it was ever given that we have money.
As the term of boats comes up, a patron at the coffee shop you guys are at in the clerk's ward chimes in. If you're willing to brave it, you could always go down to the lower ward. The River Styx passes through that. You may recall that the lotus blossom that you're trying to get is special because it grows from the waters of the River Styx.
We could take a boat in the River Styx.
I mean,
Yeah, he says just don't fall in.
Yeah, that sounds dangerous.
More dangerous than you can believe. If you drop into the River Styx, if its waters touch you in any way, you'll lose all your memory. And I mean all your memory. Like, you won't remember how to swim.
Or breathe.
Well, you'll figure out how to breathe water awful quick, and then you won't. It's a sure trip to the Dead Book, but, we're just rattling our bone boxes here. The waitress calls his name, he picks up his coffee and heads out.
Does anyone know which direction this river leads to Mount Olympus?
None of the patrons here seem to have intimate knowledge of the rivers. They just kind of know Oceanus is good and Styx is bad. But honestly, like, good and bad are both extremes here, and most of these people like things nice and in the middle. So to them, Oceanus is considered as dangerous as Styx.
Huh.
Tice, I believe, like, your character is a fallen Aasimar, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so Oceanus would burn you. If its water touched your skin, it would deal damage.
Yeah. I just have to make sure not to touch the River Oceanus. At least I won't burn, immediately explode like some other people have gone onto the river. So we need to find a safe boat to go down the River Oceanus if we're going to do this. And by doing that, we need to we need some kind of payment. Oh yeah, I know at least two of us have money on us. That would be me, and the primer would have some money on us because we did some work.
You said the Prime? Which Prime? There's a bunch of Primes here with you.
Oh yeah, did the druids get paid anything?
Not yet. You haven't brought the Jade Emperor what he wants. But the Jade Emperor does want you to acquire this potion as much as anyone.
Kite's character. He's gone now. But I have at least 2 gold coin to be able to potentially get us a ride on the River Oceanus.
If you're referring to the archer is in the other party.
Oh, he is? Oh, okay.
Yeah, this would be Kite's druid, the one that can shapeshift into animal forms, and for whom currency has no meaning because he lives off the land. There's a fun thing to say in a dimension that is entirely city.
I can hopefully barter with the 2 gold coin into getting us all onto the ship.
That sounds like a plan.
Alrighty. So I guess you guys are heading to the ladies' ward to try and barter with your 2 gold coins. The docks in the ladies' ward are, broadly speaking, more decorative than anything else. The River Oceanus here has been turned into a sort of decorative canal that boats often ride through the city to get from one place in the city to another, but not really because it's fast or useful, more because it's a very pretty scenic route. The water is peaceful and bright. It does glow slightly, even at night. And the areas in the ladies' ward that have been carved into the canal are quite decorative. So this is a place for romantic evenings with a singing boat person pushing it along. Not a lot of heavy industrial travel is going to happen here. But there are several small boats for romantic tours positioned here, and not all of them have work at the moment. So there's several of them sitting on the docks, cursing up a storm as sailors do.
Yeah. We'll walk up, let's see, how many is there of us? There's 4 of us currently.
Upon seeing you, the cursing immediately stops, and their accents notably change, and in formal floral text, they begin speaking to you as though you are customers. What romantic delight can we aid you in this evening, sirs? He counts out that there are 5 of you. An interesting party indeed. I'm not one to judge.
Yeah.
We're just out to have fun, and we want to. What is it? I assume you rent these out to people.
Of course, sir. Out to have fun is exactly what we're here for. Bear in mind, of course, that I do not personally participate in the fun. I'm merely here to enable it.
I lean to Troy's druid, and I whisper to him, should we steal this? Should we just pay him the rent fee? Try to give him 2 coins for the renting? Or then we can just take it. Not bring it back.
Are you certain you know where to go with it?
I mean, I don't know where we are, so it's getting there is going to be horribly difficult.
It is quite a confusing place, this city. The fact that the buildings loop in a circle around you through the sky. There is no sun, moon, or stars. It's quite a confusing place for a druid.
Oh, well, then that's not good if none of us know how to get there.
How to get where, sirs? The ferryman asks. I am at your service for a price.
Do you happen to know the direction to Mount Olympus?
Ooh, He kind of winces as, that is an interesting tour. Can only be done at night, of course. Portals being what they are. Very beautiful. Stars filling the sky. Olympus, full of fires and parties. A Bacchus lover, are we?
Sure, why not?
Very good.
I love a good game.
Standard rate for a trip to Bacchus's House of Pleasures on the Starlit Cruise is 10 gold pieces.
Oh, spectacular.
We can go without that, actually.
Actually, we're on a date with a god on Mount Olympus, at the bottom of Mount Olympus.
He chuckles her, oh, but of course you are. For what other way could we describe such a bacchanalian feast?
This guy totally thinks that we're all going to get down in this boat, and then we're going to a place to get down even more.
That is absolutely what he believes, yes.
Bow chicka wow wow.
After all, that is one of the things that Mount Olympus is known for, is its most excellent orgies, primarily orchestrated by the god Bacchus, god of parties and sometimes war. Mostly parties, though.
We're currently on a business trip, not pleasure.
Hey, there's no need to make excuses to me. I'm just here to get you where you're going. 10 gold coins, I'll have you right in the lap of Olympus. His eye definitely twinkles when he says the word lap.
Well, see here. Well, I do have gold coins, but these are not any ordinary gold coins. They're well designed and very spectacular, as they do come from the forge. Many would say they're worth at least 5 each. You know, like sort of like snazzily pull them out and like check like point out like all the craftsmanship on them, like.
Exquisite, sir, exquisite. And if you had but 8 more, my boat would be at your disposal. Go ahead and roll a bartering check.
That's one hell of a barter.
It's going to be like trade plus, really trade plus empathy. That's the way to get this guy. Did you, were those 4 successes that you're talking about for this round? Or was that a previous roll? Oh, there we go. Okay. 8 and 8, alright. I'm guessing you didn't have trade, you just had empathy?
I have 1 trade, 1 empathy.
Ah, nice. Alright. Well, it's a good thing they're both successes. So he looks over his bow and says, I mean, it is a shame you don't have the other 6 coins. After all, my boat could fit far more than 5, and I would hate to, tie up my boat for such a small sum when I could easily have a party of 10 in here. Notably, his price went down by 2. He's now offering it for 8, but he is still rejecting just 2 coins because he could have more passengers than just you guys and get more money than just 2 coins.
I mean, now do we just look for people that would want to go to a bucket? We'll fill the boat.
I mean, other people may want to go to Mount Olympus on the night, the secret night one shift.
I mean, certainly that's not a bad idea, says the man. If you're amenable to additional company, a little ride share wouldn't hurt anything. As long as I'm getting paid, it doesn't matter to me how many seats are or are not filled upon my wonderful 10-person boat.
So I just tell him, like, so if we can fill your boat, then you'll be satisfied with our pay.
No, if you can fill my hand with 8 gold coins, I'll be satisfied with my pay. What I'm telling you is that there are 5 additional seats on my boat.
Or if we want to get comfy, there's several more.
If you can find 5 more people who are collectively willing to pay enough money for this ride to total out to the 8 gold coins that he's asking, then yeah. So you've got 2 gold coins, you need 6 more, and he's saying there's 5 extra seats. You sell those seats for an amount that brings your total up to 8, you can ride the boat.
We should go find more people.
It's just money. You just need money.
Okay.
So sell the extra seats.
Yeah, we need. Yeah.
I'm assuming that we're
Cool.
like on a side street and people are passing by or whatever.
Yeah, you're in the ladies' ward. This is a really nice place. Like really high-end, expensive houses.
So I'm gonna like loudly proclaim, wow, this ferryman is selling trips to Bacchus's like massive orgy, and they're only whatever the remainder is between them, what, 2 gold a piece or whatever.
Yeah, we need like 4 more people to
And
pay 2 gold, right?
basically trying to persuade random passerbys.
Yeah, only 2 gold and only 5 seats left. Oh, I'd hate to miss out on this.
The boatkeeper totally gets in on the action. Indeed, you're correct, sir. The finest feast, the most glorious of entertainments. All right, everybody make persuasion checks with your empathy. You need 6 successes total.
Does Uther not work at all?
No, not at all. Ed has not booted up Uther. Uther runs on one of his spare laptops, and it's not on right now.
Oh, I have 8 die that I cannot roll.
It's a lot of die.
I have a lot of persuasion.
He gets a lot of practice in persuading his ghost panther not to eat him.
I do. I would say, I do also have keen spirit sense. If we were looking to specifically get spirits, I could make it even easier for myself.
That's one of the things I really like about Planescapes is like here in Sigil, there literally are spirits just walking down the street, like buying groceries and shit.
Yeah. Me specifically, I'm like targeting, I'm like, trying to attract spirits that maybe some of the other people can't even see. Hopefully they have money.
Yeah, it doesn't help if you can't see their money, does it?
Yeah.
I got 3 successes towards it.
Max, your roll was awful.
Oh, spectacular.
I got 3 out of 3.
You got 2 successes out of 8 dice, Max.
Oh, well, he got 3, so that's 5, right?
Ah, there you go. And then what did Troy get?
I rolled 3 dice and I got 2 successes.
Awesome. So that is enough successes. All I need is to hear your narration as to what it is you say to the people that you're trying to sell this boat tour to.
I bust out the sunglasses, and I have my panther in the background. I'm like, hey, do you want to join the craziest, most wild party in Mount Olympus? Come to Bacchus's orgy. There's gonna be crazy spirits, animals, ridiculous shit. And the panther's just in the back, like, yeah, like.
Your panther's just strutting its stuff on the catwalk.
Exactly.
Yeah, and and even it's and also I've heard even some crazy stories that even doesn't matter if you're a guy or a girl, that sometimes you wake up with the child of a god, and then you can have a badass kid as well, not from this party.
It's a Bacchus orgy. Literally anything can happen.
Alrighty. So you end up with a crowd. 3 people each put in 2 gold coins and happily join your boat. They're chatting about all the incredibly perverted stuff that they're planning to do. Were there more than 6 successes? What was the total number?
I think 7, because he said I don't know what Tice rolled.
Oh, okay, yeah. If it was just 7, then you only got 3 people.
No, it was 3, and Troy's 2. Oh, and then whatever Max got.
I got 2.
Max got 2. Okay.
So 10. Or yeah.
Okay, so you got 10 divided by 2. That's 5 people, meaning that there is coin left over that you get to pocket. As of the 10 coins, you only needed to pay out 6 plus the 2 that you already had. So that means that you guys have 4 coins left over. Or, well, okay, I guess if Tice doesn't pay out his 2,
Then we have 2 left over.
then you have 2 left over, yeah. So you guys can fight over who gets the coins. I'm sure the druids don't care about material possessions.
I really
I
don't know.
know.
Well, I'm not really of the tree variety. I could use money.
I say I don't need it.
All right, Troy, Troy and Jake, you guys have passed. So Max, you get a coin, and Tice, you get a coin.
Yeah.
I already got 2 coins, so yeah, he can have the extra. He did the work to help. He's being awesome.
All right, Max, I guess you got 2 gold coins. And you guys have booked a boat, which that evening goes off. The other crowd is quite boisterous, and they do keep trying to flirt with you guys and get you to join in. It passes under a bridge that shimmers for a moment with light, and you find yourselves under the stars beneath Mount Olympus. The mountain itself, not a black structure blackening out and darkening the stars, but is in fact adding to them with lights of its own. Torchlights and bonfires all the way up the mountain, and you hear singing from each one. The top of the mountain, capped with snow, has upon it a beautiful marble structure that shimmers in the moonlight. An entire city built purely out of marble. As you come upon the shore, there is, down here at the shore, a giant. And I do mean giant. Bigger than you're thinking. A person the size of mountains, lying on its back. Its skin is a window into space full of stars and swirling galaxies. It's wrapped in a blue tunic that is covering most of the body, and standing over it is quite recognizable with his flowing white beard and flowing white and gold toga, the god Zeus. They're not really paying attention to you guys. Again, they're the size of mountains. But the even bigger mountain behind them does tower above them. The guide leads the 5 people who joined towards a little hut, a little ways up the beach, from which loud music is coming and smells of delicious food. Like, really delicious food. If you want to not go to the hut, you're going to have to tax your composure. The food calls to you. Roast meats, fresh breads.
Would you say that it's trying to dominate our minds or will?
Yes.
I have domination resistance.
Then you are unaffected. This is god magic, and it is trying to mind control you into going to the hut. But you're currently at a fair distance. You can just pay your tax and ignore it if you want to. Or, alternatively, you can go to the hut.
I think resisting is the best option. What's the cost? How much?
Just one.
Just one tax.
One tax to your composure to resist the urge to check out the delicious smells.
Could I make an argument that, like, I'm still partially spiritual and I'm not as hungry?
Nope.
Damn. I'll take the tax then. 1 composure.
In fact, for you, it should be even more tempting, as you've been without these pleasures for quite some time. You're not even sure if you remember them properly, but they're there, tantalizingly close.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right. I took the tax.
I am frail of body, but strong of mind.
Zeus turns to you as you approach, slowly. It's the movement of mountains. He's at least 100 feet towering over you. But he's, even at that great height, he's down on one knee, tending to his father. Standing beneath the shadow of Kronos' boot, you guys are but insects.
So if he's tending to him, we can clearly see what's going on. Is there any way that we can gather how he's doing that without bothering him?
At the moment, what you can see is that he appears to be cleaning and dressing a wound. He's using water from the river Oceanus and a bandage with some sort of poultice over it. Behind him is a complicated apparatus made of wood, glass, and metal. This apparatus is large, and it has lots of what you'd think of as scaffolding around it, as though smaller human-sized creatures built it, but it is definitely meant to be used on a god.
So then can we gather, I mean, I don't know if we have a roll or not, but does it look like it's mainly the water or the apparatus that's helping?
It looks like whatever the apparatus did, it's already finished, and Zeus is just dressing the wound where the apparatus did its work.
I have a feeling that machine is important.
But it's huge, right?
Yes.
Whoever knew how to build it, maybe they can build a smaller one. Or one for the size of Set, I should say.
Well, I don't know. Somebody bug Zeus and see if we can find out more.
That sounds like a great idea.
I guess I could try to appeal to him as like a former spirit.
slowly, with the movement of a cloud crossing the sky, Zeus turns his head towards you as he's wringing out a cloth of water back into the river. He says, I can sense that none of you are believers, followers of mine. So you have not come here to worship.
Well, I actually don't have the memories of my lifetime when I was living, so I mean, it may be a possibility that I did actually worship you, but
You
that's
did
neither
not,
here nor
he
there.
says, matter-of-factly.
Oh, well, good to know, I guess. We were wondering how it is you're healing your father, the god Kronos, the Titan.
He sort of frowns, says, yes, I imagine mortals would want to know a great deal of this.
Yeah, that's
It
what I
is
thought might happen.
it is of great importance that we know, actually. It's for an important mission that may benefit you, even.
Ah, mortals, greed succumbs your race. It is infused into it, but not mine. You will not tempt me with greed. You cannot offer me anything. There is nothing I do not have that I cannot acquire as I wish. Why should I help you when all you would do is offer me promises you cannot fulfill?
Then can I humble myself and ask you as nothing to just do it for no reason at all? Just because things need to get done?
He smiles, says, yes, that is the right way to ask. He gestures to the machine behind him. He says, this was not of my making, but was made by mortal hands. An artificer of incredible skill contrived it. I had at the time thought my father evil. I would not have tried to save him. But a mortal thought otherwise, and cleansed him of the taint that haunted his mind. The device, as I understand it, replaces the blood with water from the river Oceanus.
Do you know if it would have the same effect on any godly or titan, or would it be possibly like deadly to some?
It would be deadly to some and beneficial to others. What would matter is the substance that you put into the blood. The transfusion that it commits is but a motion of things, a thing moving from one place to another. It is the thing that matters. My father was a good man and was corrupted by the poison of an old god, the Claw. The Claw was antithetical to the powers of Oceanus, antithetical to hope and growth. And so Oceanus drove it from his blood and freed him and freed his mind. Now we are reconciling as I tend his wound.
You wouldn't be possibly like depositing any of that poison anywhere, would you? Like, is there any left that you're getting rid of?
He frowns and says, the mortal was careless. He let the poison flow free into Oceanus. It is pooled somewhere deep below. No doubt it will rise again.
Oh, spectacular.
So this is probably the source of where the god Set has his ailment.
Not necessarily, but the problem is, even like, just say that we have access to the machine, which I don't know if we do, but if we do, like, we couldn't just do what he's doing because he's using the River Oceanus, and we don't want to do anything with Titan or any god that would be benefited by that river, because that would probably be bad for Set. But that blackness, if we put that and infuse that into Set, now that might help him.
Zeus hears your conversation and says, Set, you mean Typhon? Typhon,
Yes.
Typhon would have been here. In a way, he was here. There was a disruption in time, and my daughter, Athena, did battle with him. It was to be me. I was supposed to be the one that fought him, but time rewound itself when my father arrived, and it ended up being Athena that struck him back down into Tartarus. Set of the Egyptian pantheon is bound to Typhon. If he is injured by Athena's hand. She wields the lightning bolt, but Set is a creature of other natures. This operation might work on him, but you would not use River Oceanus. That would damage him further, kill him, perhaps. You would want to use the waters from the river Styx. This is dangerous for mortals. If you are to touch the water, you will lose all things. Your memories, your mind, your sanity, your hope. You will, in essence, be erased.
So, because he has access, Set has access to that river, so he must not know about that machine. Otherwise, he could have already orchestrated his own like healing process. And I'm assuming since he already knows that the river of Styx exists, he can't just drink it. He needs this infusion type thing. So it seems like all we need to do is get some of that river, get it to this infusion thing, and then give that to him. Then we should hopefully have a pretty decent bargaining chip.
Yes, even if something were to happen and where one of us were to be touched by the waters, potential of rescuing him from whatever damages he has, he might offer some of the cure for getting our memories back.
I was just gonna say, I stand to lose the least because I don't have that many memories.
Oh yeah.
So
How
I
you
was-
manage to handle the river is, of course, your own problem, but I could stand to earn a favor with Set. I will have my son Hephaestus package the device for transport. You may meet him in his laboratory. He gestures up the hill of Mount Olympus to a tiny cave from which a soft light glows, much softer than the bright fires of all the parties. It's the fire of a forge.
So, and with this assistance, I'm assuming that we just have to throw in that, oh, by the by, also this was helped by Zeus when we make these arrangements.
I am certain Hephaestus will not forget to mention my involvement as he delivers the machine.
Oh, good.
It'll be good to meet Hephaestus. As a fellow crafter, he is very well appreciated in the forge.
Yeah, Hephaestus is like kind of a legend in the Forge, especially since he doesn't really like demand worship the way other gods do. He's mostly just into the craft.
He's just really into the trade, man. He's not like one of those other gods, dude.
Yeah, he's not all about the followers and the worshippers and the subscriptions and monetization.
He's the hipster god.
He's the hipster god, that's exactly right. He's in it for the art. Climbing Olympus is an interesting experience. The more orderly and organized your thoughts are, the harder the climb. But when your minds drift, um, and you just sort of randomly think of things, you suddenly find yourself higher up than you were. This is confusing at first, as the party ends up kind of split apart, as some people suddenly seem to appear quarter mile ahead of the rest of the party. But eventually you guys get the hang of it and make your way up the mountain to Hephaestus's forge. On the side of the mountain is a cave entrance, but upon arriving to it, it's less like a cave and more like the mountain was carved into a beautiful stone door. This is the sort of thing that in fantasy realms you see dwarves do a lot of. These just beautiful entryways into a mountain. And behind it is the soft glow of molten metals, all neatly organized in rows. And a great sort of counterpoint to the general chaos of the party outside. Hephaestus is not here. You presume that he is at the bottom of the mountain disassembling the machine, as his father ordered him. Instead, there are two other gods, both gigantic, not as big as Zeus, but pretty big, and they are sitting at a table with microphones in front of them. They appear to be broadcasting a radio show. One refers to himself as Big Red and the other as the Hammer. Big Red is dressed all in red and warrior's armor, and the one called the Hammer does indeed have a gigantic magical hammer hanging from his belt from which crackles of lightning emit.
Of all the things I expected to see in here, it was not one of them.
Do you think they'll get mad if we interrupt their so-called show?
I mean, it might be a bad idea.
The show seems very amateurish, as though they're just playing at it, but you do hear echoes elsewhere in the mountain that sound like the things they just said, but happening a few seconds later. They may actually be broadcasting. Also, if there's anyone from... The Druids wouldn't remember this, but the other party did encounter people listening to this radio program like 10 sessions ago, when you guys first arrived in Sigil.
Wow.
Clever viewers will be able to go back through the archives and find that episode.
We have viewers?
They finish with their segment on the weather, and one turns and notices you and says, "And it looks like we've got some special guests here in the studio today. Welcome, mortals!" A sweep of his hand, and you guys find yourselves tumbled on top of the table, like mice being scooped up by a giant's hand. A smaller version of a microphone, though still not really small enough, is scooted up to you and goes, "And what brings you here to Mount Olympus?"
Oh, I'm just really big fans of Big Red and the Hammer.
You hear that, everybody? Big fans! That's right, you too can come down for your own special visit to Mount Olympus. Tours are on sale now in the ladies' ward.
It's just an honor to be in this forge area. It's a legendary in many places.
So, mortals, settle a bet for us. We've been talking today about the virtues and vices available here in the upper right-hand quadrant, what we're generally referring to here as the chaotic good, and we want to settle a bet. Would you take, given a chance, a night out with an elf or a night out with a Valkyrie? Your answer, go!
I don't remember what a Valkyrie is.
And you know, I'd have to choose an elf.
Big Red laughs, says, "See, I told you. Those elves. I've seen it time and time again."
As a counterpoint, I'd have to be like, I don't know. It seems like you might have like a better shot with an elf on your own without having to worry about the free one, but a Valkyrie seems like a harder prospect, and also there's also the if anything goes any further, they have wings, which adds another dimension to things. So I don't know, I'd have to go with Valkyrie.
The hammer laughs and stomps the ground and says, "Ha! This mortal knows. The elf may be easy prey, but the Valkyrie is the more worthy."
Exactly.
Yes, because after it, if you perish, then you might actually get still into the halls because everything to a Valkyrie is a great battle, even in the bedroom.
They have a good laugh, and then they put you down and wrap up their show, shake hands, and then the hammer raises his hammer to the sky. A bolt of lightning crackles through the mountains, strikes him, and he vanishes. Mars, also known as Ares, on the other hand, kind of steps over to a cabinet, pulls out a flagon of something frothy and cold, downs it, smiles at you guys, and then just sort of walks off through the cavern. From the main entrance, you hear Hephaestus huffing and puffing. He is a hunchback, quite deformed, and yet he is also god-sized. And he's carrying over his back a sack from which you hear lots of clanking and jingling. You assume that the device has been somehow packed into it, though the sack doesn't look nearly big enough to have stored the device. When he pulls the sack over his shoulder, it shrinks noticeably in size, and he himself reduces until he hands you guys a pouch no bigger than a common dice bag. He says, "Here's your device. I'll be coming with you to help set up, but need a moment. Bit rough getting up the hill. My back is killing me."
There's no worry, Festus. I'm such a fan of yours.
Panting, he goes and sits down, and what appears to be a robot woman climbs up out of a box nearby and begins giving him a back massage. She's made entirely of metal, and yet is somehow moving like a person.
Well, I'm assuming this pouch can grow to the size of whatever this mechanism needs to grow for our purposes.
From his massage chair, he's, yeah, right there, that's correct, the bag grows.
And you'll be personally escorting the bag to us and with us and to Set's lair.
No offense, mortal, but you have no prayer of assembling this without me.
Well, spectacular. It's guaranteed we won't have to prove anything to him because it'd just be like, look, that's Hephaestus. We're not lying. Good.
Ah,
Well, that's good because I have no idea
well,
what I'm doing.
well, we have a few minutes. May I humbly ask for some notes on some forging techniques? The guys back at home they've heard of your tales and have tried to become as great as you.
He says, "Oh, yeah, a little to the left, yeah, I can answer some questions for you."
Yeah, it'll just start going to like the speculations of like how the angle to strike like certain metals and like the heat and stuff. Yeah, you'll start going to jarble. That's all I can think of at this moment. But yeah, it was just sort of like a fluff thing that I want to do right now, right before we go there.
Okay, you guys talk shop for a little bit. Yeah, and then when he is feeling better rested, he gets up. Those of you who want to can just have a seat and take a rest and recover some tax. The accommodations are not great. It's a little too hot. You're not going to recover nearly as much as you would have at, like, say, one of the fancy parties outside. But you're also not going to be mind controlled and staying here forever. So, you know, tit for tat. You can recover up to 3 tax from hanging out with Hephaestus.
Okay, and our plan from here is we need to go to the River Styx, right, first?
Yeah, well, Hephaestus' plan is to take you guys down through Hades. You're already inside the mountain anyway, so he's just going to take you down the tunnels into Hades. And then Hades borders the River Styx, so from there, he'll get a boat. Ferryman's price is quite reasonable. It's 2 coins each. It does not matter the denomination. The ferryman believes in quantity over quality. And yeah, once you guys are in Seth's domain, then it'll be time for an audience with Anubis.
Do we have a plan for bottling the thing, or are we just gonna have the guy who already doesn't have memory just do it?
Oh, I don't have a plan, but I mean, I'll just try to get some. I don't know. I'm not
Would we
living
be
by
able to ask
the
Hephaestus to like fashion us up in like a quarter of a second, like a long stick with a bottle at the end of it?
That would be very useful.
Yeah. Because we let him know we need the water for the machine, otherwise this whole thing will be pointless.
Oh,
Hephaestus chuckles and says, yeah, I know how the machine works. You're not going to be loading it with bottles. You'd be there for a year. Part of the machine will be submerged in the river, and pumps will move the water up into the machine.
Oh, spectacular.
Oh, shit.
So we don't have to touch nothing.
The trick is going to be getting the machine submerged in the water safely.
Ah.
I'm sure we can rig up something. We'll see what the situation is when we get there.
Yeah,
Mission impossible.
Plus getting it to the submerge, I mean, sink it in water. Like, shouldn't be. Hopefully that's how the river works.
Alrighty. So, yeah, you guys pack up and begin heading down into Hades. You, on the way, come upon a giant 3-headed dog. He is adorable. Come on, it's a dog. Everybody likes dogs.
I mean, but with our escort, it's kind of like the golden ticket in all these situations.
Oh, the dog doesn't give a shit about people trying to get in. The dog's there to keep people from getting out.
Ah.
Well, that's helpful to us. Except when we want to get out.
Yeah, exactly. And so you proceed down into a realm of the dead. It's kind of spooky for you, Jake, is you're now fully corporeal, and yet all around you are ghostly green ghosts, phantoms of people who once were. Not necessarily in a state of torment, just kind of being dead.
Oh my god, is that how you guys saw me?
No, I'm pretty sure you had a body this whole time. Except for now, I guess.
No, I was a full spirit the first time they met me. You weren't here.
Oh.
I assume it's about the same. I don't know if do they look different on Mount Celestis? Was that where
They do, actually. Well, you're in Hades, but yeah, there is definitely a different visual effect going on.
And it's not the same.
Hephaestus is looking around a little nervously. He's like, all right, I think we can get away with not encountering Pluto here. Look, it's that time of year where he's hanging out with his wife, so I think we can just scuttle on through.
Pluto is Hades?
Yeah. Hades tricked Aphrodite, or not Aphrodite, who was he? Tricked one of the goddesses into eating a number of pomegranate seeds while visiting his realm. And so for that number of months, she has to remain down here. And that's when winter happens, because she's not there to warm the earth.
She's there warming the bed.
Yep. It's like, yeah, during the summer, he's just insufferable. All he does is talk about how she's not here and he wants her to be here. And I just can't stand those conversations, so we're just going to move on. Look, there's the river. Waiting at the side of the river is a boat. It is small, rickety, made of wood, and has a ferryman who is entirely enshrouded in a black robe. The only thing visible is his skeletal hand. Hephaestus hands each of you guys just some like cheap copper discs. It's just 2 each. It's like, just give him the 2, and we get on. No problems.
I have like all my spiritual stuff and like the keen sense and all that. Does he look like anything other than a skeleton to me?
Yes, this is some kind of incredibly powerful supernatural creature that extends deep into the river itself. It's not just the man you see on the boat, it's actually something that goes down into the water.
I will hover my copper over his hand and then drop them without touching his hand. Like, bloop, there you
go. One by one, he closes his hand over each of your pairs of coins and lets you board. When he opens his hand again, the coins are not there. And when all of you are aboard, he pushes off when the river Styx. And Hephaestus says, just quietly in his voice, says, "The realm is set, please." And then it's a matter of waiting in darkness. The sound of the river is beneath you and all around you, but there's nothing to see. No sign of shores, no sky above you, the dark of a cave. You can see yourselves by the light of the torch you brought, but as that torchlight extends outward, there is nothing for it to reflect off of. You are alone on the water with the boatman. It's impossible to tell how much time has passed in this stillness and emptiness. When the sky brightens, and you seem to be emerging as though from a cave, though behind you there is no cave, there's only the infinite blackness. But you're coming out into open sky. You seem to be emerging from the side of a cliff where the river is flowing out into a bright orange desert. The sun is low in the sky, and it is lending this golden flicker to the grains of sand that pour down from the dunes. The shadows that they cast are blue, not because they are blue, but because your eyes are so immersed in orange that anything not orange takes on the opposite color. Rising up in the distance are a set of great pyramids, the central of which is solid black, as though made of obsidian. And it is towards that the river flows. Along the sides, you can see people irrigating the river very, very carefully, careful not to touch the waters. The river is being irrigated into fields that are growing strange crops. Black wheat, corn whose kernels appear to be made of teeth, and you see them briefly as you pass, the black lotus flowers.
Yay!
I was just about to ask.
Yeah, let's not fuck with those. Yeah, yay!
Yeah, no, thank you. We're
I've
going
heard
to
of-
ask about that.
Yeah, so I've heard about the Black Lotus. What are the other two? I wonder.
The river winds its way between the pyramids, and at some point, other pieces of the river branch into it, such that the river does continue to flow past all the pyramids, and yet at the same time, the river flows up to and ends at the Great Obsidian Pyramid of Set. The ferryman stops, lets you guys board, and then he and the boat sink into the river, disappearing entirely.
Oh man, that guy gave me the creeps. I would hate to piss him off.
Yeah, don't do that.
These guys are making a joke because in a previous adventure, their characters pissed off the ferryman and got into a fight with him.
Yeah. Let's just say he's very good at finding you, no matter what means you use to get away.
Yeah. And the funny, ironic thing, I think it was technically the artificer that pissed him off.
There was some time traveling shenanigans involved in that, yes. All right, Hephaestus says, okay, we're here. The contraption's got to be set up along the river, and I don't want to do anything without permission here. This is not my domain. I don't have power here. We need to be very careful. So I'm going to start unpacking things. You guys go in and find Anubis. If Set's here, try and find him too. Bring them out. And then once we've got their permission, then I'll fully assemble the machine.
All right. I got the book and I got the plan.
Spectacular. Yeah, I
I
got the
will-
spirit sense.
Yeah. We're going into a pyramid, right? Is
Yes.
that where we pointed? I'll walk in there like I own the place. You know, got the vibe.
All right. You do hear sort of a chittering, both ahead of you and behind. You can't see what's ahead of you in the darkness, but behind you, you see that snakes and scorpions are gathering at the entrance behind you. Your torch illuminates the walls. Sorry, what was that?
I guess they don't want us to leave. Sorry.
Or they're curious. They might be spirits. You are in the realm of the god of strange afterlife-y kind of things here. Your torch lights enough of the obsidian around you that you can find your way, but the obsidian is really eating up the light. You do make out carvings of weird animals that don't make any sense. It's like an aardvark and a fennec fox had a baby. Just this bizarre, weird snout. Like it's part anteater and part kangaroo. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the Set animal.
Isn't it just a camel?
No. Set's headdress is an animal that no one's ever been able to figure out. This is like an archaeological mystery. It's some kind of weird animal, but nobody can match it to anything that really exists. You should check out the Wikipedia on it sometime. It's awesome. In any case, you proceed into a throne room where there is an empty throne, and standing next to it is a jackal-headed god. About like 30 to 40 feet tall. Considering the size and scale of things you saw in Olympus, it's kind of small for God. But it also doesn't really look like he's trying to tower over anyone. He's not even trying to sit on the throne. He's just staring off into space. Barely notices you guys have arrived. Gestures with a hand that you can put the baskets with the offerings in the corner. You do not have baskets with offerings. You're not sure why he gestured that way. He probably hasn't really taken a good look at you yet.
I let him know basically the synapses of what we're trying to do, that we are but lowly mortals looking for, like, I don't know if he gave a shit about the world or whatever, but basically looking for his favor, possibly in the form of a lotus, and knowing that these things are not given out lightly or ever, really. We are here with the help with the backing of both Zeus and Hephaestus, to possibly help him in any time of need he may or may not be in, of which we do not care or wish to speak about.
What he said.
Anubis's eyes remain unfocused, staring into the boundless void that you can't perceive, and says, "Your prayers have been heard."
All right. I just turn away from him and look at the party like we should probably find Anubis.
This is Anubis, as far as you can tell.
Oh.
This is not Set.
Oh. All right, well, then we need to find Set.
At the word of sort of find Set, Anubis sort of snaps to attention, turns down you, and says, "Set is here. You do not need to go find him." His eyes remain looking in your direction, but go out of focus, like he's looking past you, through you, sort of tracking some object you can't see that's a billion miles away.
Okay, we kind of need his presence, though.
The presence of all descends, slides gradually towards oblivion. I must watch the gate. Or did you mean presents? Like gifts? You can leave them in the corner. You're starting to get the feeling that this guy is over multitasking.
Yeah. I wonder if Hephaestus will. I mean, Hephaestus said he wanted to talk to him anyway. There's any way we can, like, lead him outside?
A gathering of priests come in through a door. There's 5 of them in total. They all have symbols of Anubis on them, and they shuffle over towards you and says, "Pardon me, I'm so sorry we were not there to greet you at the entrance. Please let us proceed outside and leave our master to his duties."
I mean, are they going to be able to get clearance to do all this?
You don't know. But the god is very distracted. They explain on the way, it says, "Our master is Anubis. Not just the god of death, but the god of the deaths of gods."
Are there a lot of gods dying recently?
Oh yes, a surprising number. It's been quite disturbing. More than normal. And, of course, the injury of his brother has him concerned. He is both adhering to his duties to see to it that dead gods are passed to the gods' next phase properly, while at the same time trying to protect his brother from that same fate.
All right, well, we need his brother so that we can protect his brother from that fate, just like he wants.
We can save Anubis from some of his burden as well.
Coming out into the light, they see Hephaestus and sort of get into a little chatter with each other. A couple of them run back into the temple, and a bit later they come back out with priests of Set. After some discussion, they agree that it is worth interrupting Anubis to try and deal with this. So they go back in, and you guys are left to wait as the sun sets and darkness fills the sky. The desert is beautiful in the night. The stars shine almost as bright as the sun itself, collectively. The land is lit up as a silver, just glitter of sand and sparkles. The water, on the other hand, looks menacing. Its black gets blacker. It's not reflecting the stars at all. The river Styx is eating the light.
That was an amazing picture. But as far as that conversation, I'd like to imagine it went something like, "Hey, but we can help his dying brother." One of the priestesses is like, "He's a god. What are these guys going to do? That's stupid." And one of the guys, one of the people from outside that saw Hephaestus runs in and goes, "Hey, you guys know why Hephaestus is out there by the river?" They're like, oh, hold on, maybe they can.
What you do gather from their chatter is that Hephaestus being there as a representative of Olympus is a big deal, since it was someone from Olympus that injured him to begin with. This is a proper diplomatic peacemaking gesture here. So Hephaestus, once they get Set's body out, which takes some doing, as Set is in a humanoid form, but is not sized proportionally properly. Looks like he was partway through a transformation when injured. For example, his knees currently bend backwards. A lot of his formations actually are quite familiar to your character, Troy, as it looks like he was part animal recently and was caught midway through a transformation.
That's the best place to be.
Sounds horrible.
For you, indeed. But yeah, so caught in this way, things are a little bit wonky. The priests that are carrying him have to take it in shifts because the electricity coursing through his body keeps zapping them. And eventually they just don't have the energy to stand after being shocked continuously while carrying him. They do eventually get his body out and present, sort of the situation to Hephaestus. Typhon's lightning still courses through his veins, and we don't know how to wake him up. He's still in the sort of partial form of the snakes and dogs that form Typhon's body. And thank you for coming to our aid. Hephaestus looks at the machine and is like, "Okay, so I can do a lot of this, but I am a hunchback and crippled, and my father refuses to allow me to heal that injury. So I'm going to need some help assembling this, and you all know what the hard part's going to be. It's going to be getting the input valve under the river Styx." Any volunteers? It's big, it's heavy, it's awkward, and if any of the water splashes on you when you drop it in, you'll forget everything you ever knew.
I also want to let them know that as well as a peacemaking thing from Zeus, this is also us looking for the Lotus after everything is set up right. Now, I know that they don't necessarily have anything, but I just wanted that, just so they don't think that's just like something tacked on the end. And then also, I'm assuming that there's priestesses and stuff there still. When he describes like what we have to do, I'm going to ask them if they have anybody that is willing to do such a thing that would be most helpful to serving their god. And I'm basically using Inception to make them do it, or one of them do it.
Awesome. That is a great use of Inception. One of them volunteers. The others say it could be a trick. They might be trying to get you to forget. We can't make the potion without Set.
It's literally, Hephaestus. Why would he trick? What? Like,
But the brave priestess steps forward and she hoists the heavy machine onto a little boat and paddles out into the water and drops it, and sure enough gets just like splashed and just falls limp onto the bottom of the boat. She's just floating out there in the middle of the river.
I mean, that's unfortunate, but the mechanism is where it needs to be, right? Or
Yeah, mechanism's where it needs to be, and some of the other priests go and run along to get boats to try and go get her boat to shore, while Hephaestus begins the blood transfusion, getting the lightning out of Set and replacing it with the black waters of the river Styx.
Poor person.
I was gonna volunteer, so I mean, I'm glad you persuaded someone else.
Well, I mean, we had everything else lined up, and I had the skill, so I figured, why not?
It's good use of that skill. Deception's a good one. Was that that's a requires 5 persuasion one, right?
Yes, and I have it. Yeah, I mean, it's literally like, hey, this is gonna save your literal god, so go do it. Like, that's not too hard of a persuasion.
Upon rising, Set sort of straightens into a proper human form, except for the weird animal with the bizarre slender snout on the head. Turns to the woman, and with a gesture, the boat just rises up out of the water and carries her to him. He sets her down upon the sand and says, "You have honored your god with your service. I will grant for you and he gazed the rest of your party and your minions that have served me to a great boon. He says, for you I shall return your memories." And she begins to sort of wake up. Says, and what for your minions? What gift would you have me give them? And she turns around and says, what is it you guys wanted again?
We're looking for those black lotuses that they don't give to anybody.
Yes, my minions wish the Black Lotus. It says, do you wish it for wealth and power? You will find neither this path. The Black Lotus carries with it a curse.
Oh, that's fine. We need it for potion making.
It's for health.
Very well. In aiding my priestess, you have proven yourselves to be worthy acolytes. And so he grants you a single to share amongst yourselves, Black Lotus. He says, and now I must banish you from my realm. For you are not truly disciples. I can sense your lack of belief.
Well, isn't that a good thing? Get out of here.
Hephaestus raises his finger and says, we should speak. I bring apologies from Mount Olympus. And the two of them go inside while you guys are politely escorted and also slightly magically ejected from his domain, and you find yourselves at the border of where the color stops. It's a desert, and on one side of that border, it's a golden desert with a sunset. And on the other side, it's just gray. Like a black and white movie. It's even grainy. I mean, it's a desert, yeah.
Can we be on the golden side?
No. The god has forcefully ejected you, and you find it's almost like a force field preventing you from entering it.
Oh.
Oh shit, we're in the Grey Waste now?
Indeed you are. And yet you notice something that tucked into the belt of one of your companions. There's a little business card.
Yeah, I was hoping we had that. I mean, we don't have a lot of options here, right? Looking around, it's just gray desert.
It is gray desert. There is a sort of something sun-like, but it's just a brighter spot in the sky. There's no color to it. And yeah, the desert extends around in all directions. But you're also in the plains, and what you've learned here especially during Mount Olympus, is that the way you think helps direct where you go as you walk.
We did hear about that there was a town. We could try to find that town and at least get out of the desert.
Indeed, the town is called Hopeless.
That's not comforting.
Everyone needs to think of hopeless.
Well, hopeless and probably also the fact that we're never going to get there because it sounds like that's the rule of this place.
And so you begin walking. As you think your hopeless thoughts, you find it becomes easy to traverse the dunes. Until you come over the rise of a dune and you see what appear to be almost like statues, but badly made. Like a person just sort of melted stone into the shape of a person without much thought as to detail. Just a couple of them at first, but then more. And then you see something truly horrifying. It is a demon. It is tall, 50 feet tall, a goat's head, great antlers for horns, goat hooves for feet, and its two arms are both carrying great whips. And as it whips the statues, they break apart. And what emerges from them is a person who screams and runs away, but as they're running, their eyes, the only things that have color, for the rest of them is black and white as the desert, their eyes are bleeding a molten magma, as though they're crying tears of molten rock. And that bright red from that molten rock covers their face, drips down their body, and hardens into a shell, turning them back into a statue again. One by one, the demon picks a statue, whips it, and watches it try to run as far as it can before the molten metals encase it again. Each one screaming in pain from the burning.
We should probably get the hell away from that thing.
Yeah, that's a good
Looking
idea.
in the opposite direction, as one is wont to do when confronted with such things, you see that there is a woman on a hill with a sword. She has the sword embedded into the sand dune and appears to be kneeling down and talking to it.
Oh, I guess that sounds better than screaming horrible torture. So,
I'm gonna have to agree. We should go to the woman with the sword in the ground.
Indeed.
Yeah. I'm for not the whip guy. Whip demon.
the guy doesn't sound like he'd be very good at parties.
The screams echo through the air as some of his victims desperately try to run away before their own tears root them to the ground again in stone. But having climbed down from the dune and climbed up another, you have gotten some distance from the monster. There are still some statues around you, indicating perhaps the monster could come this way. Or maybe has in the past. The woman is speaking to the sword, but you don't completely understand what she's saying. It's sort of mumbled and muffled in whispers. Then she sees you and she stands up, leaving the sword embedded in the dune.
Do you trust that sword?
Does she trust the sword? Are you asking her?
I'm asking them. Do you guys trust the sword? Should we take it?
I don't really understand your question.
Oh, she dropped her sword in the sand.
I mean, her sword's in the sand, and she walked away from it toward us, right? That's the current situation.
She stood up and kind of took a couple steps towards you, yeah. She's at the top of the dune. The sword is embedded in the dune. She's not really treating the sword as hers.
Yeah. So I have little concern for this.
Who are you, lady?
She seems about to open her mouth and then turns to the sword and looks back and says, I'm told it's not wise to say my name in this place.
Oh, well, then don't.
Yeah, that's fine.
Perhaps, travelers, you should step forward and be judged by my sword.
Your sword judges?
The Godblade Valiadius sees all. She says this with utter confidence.
Okay, then. I'll step forward.
All right.
I'll also step forward.
She turns as though she's listening to the sword and says, very well, Valiadius has deemed you to be of good heart, but what you're doing in these lands I cannot imagine. I am Kilvian, and this is my god, the Blade Valiadius. We are here on a mission. We are seeking the soul of my fallen master.
Who might that be?
In life he was known as Cater.
Did he survive past life?
Valiadius believes he has come to this place, and she believes that he does not deserve it. And so we've come to take him home. An afterlife that she has made specially for him. He was not a good man in life, and life would judge this afterlife to be his just reward. But what he did with his actions, though he was evil in heart, saved many lives. He brought great good into the world, even if it was not his intention. For that, Valiadius disagrees with the universe's judgment, and has built a way to overrule it.
And where did he come from?
Cater? Cater was just a man.
Valiadis.
She was summoned by Cater's desire to be better than he was. She is a manifestation of the will to do good, forged into a blade. You see the demon coming up over the hill.
Oh,
Yeah. So all that's great. Do you know a way out of this place?
The blade actually turns of its own volition and points in a direction. She looks down, looks up at you, and says, Valiadius says, if you travel that direction, and keep in your mind thoughts of goodness, wholesomeness, thoughts of charity, that you will find your way out. If you continue thinking thoughts of despair, you will only find yourself deeper in the waste.
but won't it be harder for us to travel in that direction?
Not if we think happy thoughts.
Valiadius says, yes, this place is antithetical to happy thoughts. It will resist you at first. It will make the travel difficult. You will strain. And then, when it realizes it cannot keep you, it will eject you.
Ah, well, spectacular. The direction is the opposite direction from the horrible monster with whips, correct?
Roughly, yes.
Yay.
Like pretty much like directly opposite. In fact, it's basically the opposite direction you were walking.
And don't think of hopeless, the city. Think of hopefulness, where we get lost and eventually ejected.
If ever you have been to Elysium, think of this place. She kind of scratches her head. I don't know what Elysium is, but that's what my sword told me.
All right, then. Let's think about sunshine and rainbows and go that way.
Yeah,
That's a good idea.
Tell them good luck with the demon thing. It's getting closer.
The demon seems to have stopped on the hill, and it seems to be engaged in a conversation with the sword. It makes a strange statement. It says, "If one of them is yours, then name it, and I will release him."
Yikes.
Whatever it is the sword just said, the demon chuckles and said, "You offer a trade? This woman for yours?" And then you see her walk up and said, "I will do whatever my god demands of me." She looks like she's ready to just face down this demon by herself with her bare fists. She then points to one of the men down below. You guys can't quite see it until you get up the next hill, but the demon whips the man open, and the man does not run away from the demon, but actually runs towards it and begins clawing out its eyes with his bare hands.
Jeez.
Cater's a badass.
Yeah.
Oh my.
And then you're over the dunes and away from the scene. Probably running like hell.
Yes. Moving as
Oh,
fast as we possibly can.
Thinking the happiest of thoughts.
If I say you see all that, like, screaming and eye gouging and, running and whatever. It's like, flowers and puppies. Like,
Sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows.
yeah.
And sun drops.
Simpsons is awesome. All right. Yeah. So you guys proceed, and a wind starts to pick up, pushing against you, making it hard to roll. You guys can either make athletics checks against the wind, but because of where you are, you may roll your athletics check with your focus instead of your vigor if you wish, as this is as much a mental exercise as anything else.
Is this trying to dominate me?
Yeah, so basically what you're rolling here is you've got a challenge of 6 coming at you. If you overcome the challenge by getting 6 or more, then you just overcome it, and it was nothing. If you don't overcome it, then you can buy extra successes until you do by taxing yourself. You can tax yourself physically, you can tax yourself mentally, you can tax yourself however you need. But in the end, the number is 6.
Resistance of Q4.
You may tax your resistance and just ignore the whole thing.
How much would I have to
6.
tax? That's with Q4 taking effect?
Q4 what?
Domination resistance.
Yes, nothing is trying to actively dominate you. You're trying to dominate the world. You're trying to override your will upon reality.
Okay, so we roll, and then 6 minus whatever we rolled is how much we tax whatever.
Exactly.
All right, I rolled 3, so I'll just take 3 to my health and consider it straining.
Right on.
This is super mentally taxing on me. I take Get 6 to my composure.
Oh, you got 0? I'm so sorry.
Is it just focus that we're rolling?
You can roll vigor instead if you wish, but then it would be plus your athletics.
All right, no, I'll just do focus. I don't have dice, just 2 dice.
I just got 1 success.
We don't really have a character sheet for you, I don't think. So 1 success is going to mean you're pretty badly sort of reduced. Just note that you have like a sort of a -5 penalty, and we'll address that the next time you rest.
All right. Yeah, I have 1, but like I only have 1 of that stat.
Yeah.
And no athletic.
That stat is like being a ghost, right?
Yeah, basically.
Right.
Just didn't roll 2 dice for me.
Oh, sorry. Hey, you got 1 success.
Yeah, I'll spread. Summon endurance and
The winds blow stronger, kicking up dust until you can't even see in front of you, and then suddenly it's as though the world has just given up trying to pull you back. You stumble forward from the sudden lack of resistance and stumble out of a dust storm into clear open desert with a little village just sitting there in front of you, as though it's been there all along. The houses are gray, the people are gray, everything's gray, including the big gaping portal in the middle of the village.
Yay.
Big, like open portal?
Totally open. Yeah, you can see right through it. And a bunch of the people in the village are kind of looking at it like, I really want to go through there, but man, I just can't get it done today. Everyone's here seems to be completely drained of energy, except for the one man standing in front of the portal. Or should I say the one fox man standing in front of the portal.
Well.
Hey, do we recognize that guy?
Totally. It's the same Arcanoloth that you guys met at the coffee shop. Also the same Arcanoloth that you guys met in the Jade Palace. He's smiling a big toothy fox grin and says, I knew I could rely upon you. If I could please have the box, thank you.
Did we take the box from him? I don't think we did.
Of course you did. It's a box like any other. With the corners. He points on your belt to the card.
The card with the box?
Indeed. What's the difference? It has the right number of corners, after all. And there's an opening on the inside for me to keep the product. And as he takes the business card, it expands into the box with the bones. And he walks off into the desert.
Perfect.
Arcanoloth are known for getting their way no matter what.
Yay.
Yeah, luckily we didn't just like get upset and toss the card.
I forgot about those bones entirely.
So I guess the ones he showed us were fakes.
Or he just had a lot of them.
Technically, he didn't give you the card until you'd refused him and he'd put the box away. But you'll never know. You'll also never know like what would have happened if you tried to get that box through customs. But you found a great back door. Got around the whole situation for him. It's perfect. And in record time, too.
Set up a little delivery service.
Stepping through the portal, you do find that you guys are not quite as flush with color as you used to be. Your skin does still retain some of its color, but you are paler than you used to be by a little bit. Those of you who have hair have found that it's tinged slightly towards gray, and also all of your clothing is devoid of color completely.
Pretty sure my hair was already white to begin with.
Yeah, so that doesn't make a huge difference to you. You just look a little paler. But yeah, any color that was once on your clothing is gone. You are now wearing gray, whatever you wear. And you are in the town of Hopeless. From here, it's a minor matter of finding a portal back to the City of Doors. Those are all over the place. You maybe spend a coin, maybe you don't, to bribe somebody, and you make your way back to the city. And we'll pick back up with that party after we finish the space adventures with the other party next week.
Sweet, the pocket-sized spaceship.
Indeed. This party has one more thing to do, which is to go to the Jade Palace. But we're gonna take care of that after you guys deal with the space issue.
Oh yeah.
Where did we leave the other alchemist?
The alchemist is back at Sigil, so you're gonna go visit him, get the potion made, go to the Jade Palace. That'll be 2 weeks from now. But next week you're going to be with the other party in space. So congratulations, and go ahead and in addition to the experience you're going to give each other in a moment, you guys should also take a renown for helping to renew relationships between the Greek and Egyptian pantheons. That will echo through the planes as a great deed, and your names will be well remembered. So for Jake, if you had a normal character sheet, the way this would work is you could either get 10 experience points, or you could increase your connections or your resources or your faction by 1. Since you don't have one, I'm just going to say just straight up, just increase whatever your stat is, increase it by 1. So it is 1 higher than it usually is. You still have that penalty from struggling in the Grey Waste, but yeah.
Yeah, the 5.
Right. But now instead of that being a 6 minus 5, it's now a 7 minus 5. And we'll work on getting that 5 cleaned up with some proper rest and psychological care.
Okay. Now time to bring out the EXP. I'd like to give one to Max or B for basically convincing someone else to like take the fall for getting Splish Splash, taking a bath in River of Styx. I like to give one to Kite for which one was his character this session? It was the
useless druid, essentially, for this entire one.
One for him for being moral support, and like to give one to Jake for basically convincing Zeus to help us, because it was his questions and answers that Gus. That's everyone.
Yeah. I mean, mine follow the same kind of thing. I mean, the Zeus thing was pretty legitimate because my only knowledge of like stuff that convinces Zeus involves like maidens from other planes and stuff that he like, does stuff with. And I didn't have one of those, so I'm glad he came up with that answer. Tice for I think it was when you were talking that led to us starting to convince people to get on the ferry. Otherwise, we wouldn't have got there. Also, with sharing the money with me, it was fun. I didn't think you did nothing on this round. You were integral in a bunch of different parts. I mean, like you definitely helped us come up with answers throughout. If you didn't have like a central thing you did, so that
I love helping with decisions when everyone else does the work. It's so
yeah.
nice. Here I'll go. Tice for having money. That was the biggest piece. You did that work kind of as a we didn't really need to do it as an aside thing, kind of dealy. But it was good that was like kind of part of the story, and that we came back and actually had. Max for doing our speech for the main speech for the party salesman routine, which was very reminiscent of so many commercials I wish I've never seen. And then Jake for being, I think it just happened a couple times, but it was like, I can only describe this as like a sneaky subconscious. It's just that voice in our ears is just kind of like, should we steal from that person? Should we just kind of like circumvent the situation, or should we get rid of that sword? Like it just wasn't even a thought, but it was a thought for you maybe. Like it was fun to be thinking about that in the moment.
I was going to give you one for saying we shouldn't steal those things, even though I suggested it. And yeah, definitely to Tice for having the gold that we needed. And to Max for having a lot of knowledge of the gods that would help out every now and then.
I mean, we were dealing with like Land of Dead stuff, and I mean the guy's got a little experience in it, so that helped.
Exactly, yeah. Getting more knowledge on
them. And also to my benefit, as far as like the getting people on the boat thing, it's not like, hey, we're gonna go get eaten by monsters. Like it was like advertising an orgy, and like, is that really something that's like hard to do? It's like that has like a difficulty of 0.
I was gonna say it's gonna be romantic or something.
In Sigil, the difficulty isn't convincing people to go on an orgy adventure to Bacchus's party. The difficulty is getting them to pay for it. They're happy to go to the party, but to part with their coins, oh, wait a second. Hold up there.
You sold that party.
And actually, in the course of us, like, making our way and already have set things up with Hephaestus and Zeus and everybody, it did kind of dawn on me. It was like, especially when we actually got inside the pyramids, like, wait, this guy is acting like a nutball. The other one, they won't even bring out. Could we just take the stuff? Like, I was like, wait, maybe we could have just stolen this and left.
As a GM, I did design it so that was a possibility. I arranged the situation so that there absolutely was we're just going to steal it option. It wouldn't have been easy, but you're right. I left that open as a possibility.
We had set everything up so perfectly at that point. I was just like, I told myself in my head, like, don't go screwing up what you've already, like, you made this so easy for yourself. Don't now blow it. Like,
oh man.
Yeah. When we saw the Black Lotus, I didn't want to steal it. I was on board with our original mission.
Yeah. I almost really wanted to just not pay the tax on the mental thing and just go to the Hephaestus to go to the party.
I also thought about like asking about the corn that was made of teeth and the other products, but like as I was doing that, I was like, hey, by the way, you're rejected from the realm. All right. Like, never mind.
I've heard of ears of corn, but this is ridiculous.
I'm just really glad that you guys actually went that route because I've been laying like the groundwork for you guys being aware of that incident since you guys first arrived in the plains. Like I had like newspaper articles about uh, Zeus taking care of his father like right from the start. So I'm glad that you ended up taking that hook and running with it. The other routes were viable though. I didn't make it so that you could only do this one way, but that was the fun way that ties into the previous adventures. I always like doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt like the sacrificing something to the Yggdrasil pool would be bad somehow.
Oh man, I had actually had a super plan for the whole Yggdrasil thing. I was gonna go find a wizard that knew the Featherfall spell, and we were just gonna Halo drop it.
I kept waiting. Like I was using my skill. Like I had it in my back pocket. Like I was ready to pull the trigger on this thing because I kept thinking like, all right, we're gonna get to Zeus and he's gonna like want to kill somebody and I'm gonna have to like get him to change his mind, or we're gonna get to the god of death or Set and they're gonna want to claim our souls and I'm gonna have to change their mind with it there. And then it never happened, so I just had this loaded weapon. Like, what am I gonna? Oh, somebody's gotta go in the water. Hey, priestess, like you do it.
Yeah, for the Yggdrasil option, actually, when you went out looking for your Featherfall options, you're going to find there are places that actually just straight up sell parachutes because there's a really popular activity, which is to find really high things. And in the plains, that's totally easy. There's lots of really high things. You set up a portal on one side of Sigil. You jump off the high thing and go through another portal that you put at the bottom of the high thing. So you go shooting up out of the ground towards the middle of the ring of Sigil. And then you open your parachute at the middle and float gently to the opposite side. It's a sport that was created by a previous adventuring party, and it's become a popular sort of advanced multi-dimensional thinking with portals version of base jumping.
Oh man, that whole putting an eye into in the well thing is pretty amazing idea. I know I ran away with that idea once.
Oh yeah. And actually, when you had talked about the claw, before I thought it was going to be, we'd just use the other river, and like we were bringing up the claw stuff. I had thought about it was like, oh wait, there is like somebody else. Like, isn't there like another person running around there with like claw like infusion?
Yeah, I hear he's some kind of skeleton guy.
Yeah.
Actually, no, that guy's got the teeth.
Oh yeah, that's right. He's got the maw.
Yeah, he has teeth infusion, not claw infusion.
Well, dark, horrible stuff. Infused Set with whatever. I'm sure it'll be fine.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, and we'll pick this up next week.